What's good? What's good? I am back. Yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast. This is episode 149. We're almost about to hit 150. About to be halfway to another 100 episodes and whatnot. Before I get started, don't forget that the video version of this podcast goes to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and we'll stream the video as well live on 3 of the Twitter accounts: Twitter at Paul P Podcast, Twitter at Promo Palace LLC, and Twitter at Paul W Pickett. Sometimes I switch up the Twitter at IndyCast or Twitter Urban Obsessions. Also, don't forget that the audio version of my podcast goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, and much more. Definitely follow me on all those platforms as well. This might be a long one, and if I get so far into hitting that hour mark, I think I might make 2 parts of this episode today because there's a few things I just want to get over. I'm just seeing too much stuff because, I've been working from home for the last decade, and in between orders, all I do is soak up content, whether it's just, movies or music or just YouTube content and, political content or whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? But as I've gotten older, I have noticed that I've gotten more interested in maybe not more concerned, but I just take more interest in what's going on in the political spectrum. But before we get started in that, I'm going to give you a word from one of our sponsors.
That dizzle ain't no joke, got me addicted, ain't no coke. Let's just have a toast. Anybody want some smoke? Cause it's up, I be dizzled up. Catch me sipping with my double cup. Can't just have one, you gotta double up. You pour it, gotta watch it bubble up. I ain't gon' lie, I cannot get enough. With Callie said I need another one. Gon' have you coming back for more, but go get it while it's hot. Before it be sold out in your stores. That dizzle.
That's right. That dizzle. Do you dizzle? Yes, I dizzle. Dizzle brand premium luxury liqueur, mixture of agave tequila, cognac, and orange liquor mango mix. Check them out, dizzlebrand.com. You go order the Dizzle brand merchandise. You see the hats, see the t-shirts. Click on the Dizzle brand store to order the merchandise on the dizzlebrand.com. And if you want to order your very own bottle or bottles of Dizzle brand premium luxury liqueur, go to dizzlebrand.com, click on our locations, click on one of the top 3 links, and you must be 21 and over. Shipping and handling is included. And I do recommend, if you're going to order online, to order 3 bottles or more, because the shipping and handling is pretty much the same as ordering 1 bottle as 3 bottles. So order like 3 bottles or more, and you won't regret it. 21 and over, shipping and handling included. Dizzlebrand.com. Do you dizzle? Yes, I dizzle. All right, let me get last night's game. And while I'm pulling up the NBA score, Darvin Ham is the new Lakers head coach. Congratulations to Darvin Ham. He's been getting a lot of interviews before it, didn't get an opportunity. Now he's got an opportunity. I like coaches like a Darvin Ham that are definitely not going to be scared to bark at the players and let the players know, whose team it is. Because that's the thing. I mean, people always name is Durant's team. It's the owner's team. And more importantly than that, it's the coaches team. Stop acting like there's not a hierarchy to this. LeBron Durant don't own no teams. You want to know the only former player that owns a team? Michael Jordan, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. Team, and it's Jeannie Buss's team and ownership team. So there's that. But I'm interested to see how it goes. Last night, I say, man. I mean, he get, of course, my 3, so it was a close. Jimmy 4 still star. But I could tell you what, in the playoffs, so far, from what I've seen in the playoffs from Jimmy Butler, he plays like a superstar in the playoffs. And that's when superstars become superstars, is in the playoffs, not in the freaking regular season. So I don't know, man. I don't know I rank Jimmy Butler. If he, like, this is a problem. Jimmy Butler has injuries a lot too, but he's in and out. But Jimmy Butler plays 10 times harder than most people. I could argue that's partially why he has the injuries, because he plays harder on both ends of the floor. Some cats don't play on not the defense whatsoever, so all their effort is on offense. PJ Taylor gave you 11. You got 13 from Max Strauss, 6 from Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo is going to have to do a lot more this next game to finish out Boston. And 18 from Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry stepped up a little bit. He was 5 for 14 from field goals, but he was 4 from 9 from threes, which is 44%. Max Strauss was 3 from 8. If he hits even a few more threes, this game is even a little bit more out of reach. They didn't get nothing from the bench. You got 30 from Tatum, 20 from Brown, 14 from Smart, 22 from Derek White. I mean, they had a little bit of balance, 12 from Robert Williams, but they were all negatives. -6, -14, -7, -9, -12. The only plus was Derek White and Grant Williams. The bench was the only one that was in the plus. Everybody, all the starters are in the minus. Everybody was in the plus for all the starters for the Heat. The only one in the minus was Caleb Martin off the bench. So it was the exact opposite. This is a good series. That's going to go down to Game 7. Damn, man. I don't know who to pick now, man. I don't know who to pick. Because they don't play till Sunday. Till tomorrow. Butler's going to get some rest. Tucker's going to get some rest. Tyler Hero might be able to come back. Maybe he'll get enough rest off his injury. He can come back. Oh, man. Like, yeah, I don't know who to pick, man. I know Golden State, Draymond said they're going to be playing the Celtics. I'm going with the Heat. Just because they've been there before, and the person they beat last time we get there was Boston, and I just haven't seen Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Like, when Jaylen Brown had his 40-point game, they freaking lost because of the freaking turnovers he had. So I haven't seen a game that Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum or just took over the game like Jimmy Butler just did. I haven't seen that yet. I mean, literally, Jimmy Butler just whatever he wanted to get, he was getting. So there's that. Move on to some of these topics. All right, so I wanted to talk about this topic today, and I realized I already kind of had something about it where I was saying I wanted to talk about pro-choice today, and something I saw about pro-choice, and I remember I wrote this down. You can't be pro-choice and pro-abortion. It's funny that I wrote that down before I wrote this pro-choice thing down today from something I saw. I saw somebody talk about pro-choice today, and they explained it. And I'm not saying it was a great analogy, but it was interesting. It was definitely interesting, and for me, it made all the sense in the world. Even more, to a sense when I think about it. So the guy was talking about the pro-choice movement, and it was Jason Whitlock talking about the pro-choice movement, and like saying this is what pro-choice gets you. And I'm like, I didn't know where he was going to go with this, and he was talking about the cops not going into the school shooting in Texas. And then he broke, and he broke his analogy down based on the pro-abortion people, my body, my choice. Well, oh man, like it was interesting when I think about that in the lines of the cops, like saying, well, we're not going in there because we're not going to get shot and killed because this guy has an automatic weapon and we got 9mm. This is what happens when you create these. This is what I try to tell people. I tried to tell people this. Nobody wanted to listen. When you take this stance of my body, my choice for any one thing in society, then you open the floodgates up for people to say it for any and every freaking thing on the planet. Because once you try to, say that you could say my body, my choice, but abortions, but a cop can't say my body, my choice to run into school when a guy with an automatic weapon and we only got 9mm. It's pretty hypocritical stance. It's pretty hypocritical stance. Because y'all sit there and make the argument that when you abort a baby, it's not even a life yet. It has no life. It is no life. It has no emotions. It has no feelings. It has no heartbeat and all that shit. Well, guess what? A cop has emotions, and feelings, a heartbeat, a family, and all that stuff that he wants to go home to. So I agree with Jason Whitlock. This is what the pro-choice movement gets you. This is what it gets you. Cops not wanting to risk their lives because their body, their choice. And you can sit there and say, well, they get paid to. Well, okay. That'd be like me saying, if a porn star gets pregnant during a porn shoot, she shouldn't be able to abort the baby because she gets paid to have sex. You got to look at things logically, man, and with common sense and common knowledge. And you can't look at things in a biased point of view all the time in society. So when I heard Jason Whitlock bring up this pro-choice thing, I didn't realize I had already kind of had this idea that you can't be pro-choice or pro-abortion at the same time. Like that, this idea of that is hypocritical because once you say you're pro-abortion and it's my body, my choice, then you can't take that away from anybody. That means, for example, you can't be locking people up for using drugs because it's their body, their choice. You can't be locking people up in the nut house for like the cutters, the people that just cut their wrist. They cut the wrist. They're not cutting veins, but they just cut the wrist. You can't lock them up in nut houses because guess what? Their body, their choice. We like pro-abortion people are hypocrites. They're all hypocrites. Every single last one of them. And that's what it comes down to. That's pretty much what Jason Whitlock is the point he's making. You can't be pro-choice and pro-abortion. Because no, if you're pro-choice and pro-abortion, then, somebody can use drugs. You can't lock them up. They can slice their wrist. You can't lock them up in the nut house. If somebody want to sleep out in the middle of the sidewalk, you can't lock them up for that. Their body, their choice. You can't be a hypocrite about these things. If not, the hypocrite, I hate to say it, hypocrites are scumbags. They're scumbags. And I don't hate to say it. I'm just, and I don't even hate to say it because this is just the honest truth. Hypocrites are scumbags. You can't be pro-choice and pro-abortion, and this is what pro-choice gets you. Cops not going up and risking their lives in a school, which I don't agree that the cops should have stayed outside. I think the cops should have instantly, and I want to throw that out there. I think the cops should have instantly went in. I mean, there was plenty of them with 9mm to go in, and yeah, one of them I got shot and killed in the process, maybe 2 or 3, but they should have. But when you throw this pro-abortion argument out here and this pro-choice argument shit, my body, my choice, well, that's what this gets you. That's what this bullshit gets you. So yeah, all right. With that, good luck with that, peoples. I want to talk. I know this is kind of late, but I want to talk about this. Reaction to people celebrating Kevin Samuels' death. To me, that's some scumbag shit too. And what's really fucked up is it's mainly black women. People blame Kevin Samuels, saying like he divided the, you know, like the dating scene or the relationship scene amongst black men and black women. Well, guess what? That dating scene is going on the same with a lot of white dudes and white women as well. You know why? Because there's a lot of women on white, whether they're white or black, that just got too many unrealistic wants in a man. Like, okay, they all want, like, I would argue that well over 50% of the women want in America, and this is just America, 50% of women in America want a man that makes 6 figures or more. Let's start with that variable. And I saw a video about this. So let's just start with that variable. They want a man that makes 6 figures or more. Well, that's only 30%. Only 30% of Americans make 6% or more. So that means only, let's say 10% of those are women and 20% are men, or 5% are, that's only 25%. That means more than half of the women are expected to settle down with only 25% of the men. Well, there's 25, that means 25%, that means half of that half is going to be sharing men. Like half of the women over half of the women in the world are going to be sharing men any way they look at it. And okay, so they want a man that makes six figures. Then they want a man a lot of them want a man that's either taller or 6 foot. 6 foot or more or taller than them. I'm a very short guy, so, and that's the thing. I don't make 6 figures, but I'm just like right there, right on the borderline of getting over that hump. So I don't make 6 figures. I'm only like 5'4", 5'5", so I'm definitely not taller than all women. And so they want a man that makes 6 figures. They want a man that's taller or 6 foot. Then we ain't even put in penis size. Car. Like, yeah, like, so like 60% of the women, 70% of the women in America are going to be sharing like 20% of the men. 20, like probably I would argue it's like 15%. It's not even realistic. And that goes for on the white women and white men, black men and black women. I guarantee there's just as many white gold diggers, if not more, than black women that are gold diggers. I guarantee there's way more white gold digger women than black gold digger women, because there's way more white women. So yeah, most of these women are batshit crazy out of their mind. They're living in a fairy tale, la la land where it's not reality. It's not reality. And that's all Kevin Samuels was ever really saying. That was really it was really simple. I mean, even Fresh and Fit, they say the same thing, but they're a little more cocky and arrogant with it and kicking chicks out and using it to their advantage and stuff like that. Kevin Samuels was just trying to educate. That's the thing. Like, most people, they can't handle the truth. What did old boy say off of A Few Good Men? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. That's the facts of life nowadays. Why are we out here saying facts over feelings? Because when you tell the truth and you try to spit facts, people get all emotional. They get sensitive over facts and truth. Because they start to, because they can't go off of their delusions no more. Their delusions of grandeur. Their delusional fairy tale, made up, imaginary, bogus world, man. So I think it's some scumbag shit that anybody is celebrating this man's death. It wasn't like he was freaking a violent criminal, a rapist, or a pedophile, or mass murderer, serial killer, or Hitler. He was a guy who made a living on YouTube by creating content with willing participants that would call in on his podcast and explain their relationship problems. And he would basically tell them, just since he wouldn't lie to them, or he wouldn't sugarcoat, or he wouldn't kiss their asses, why he told them why their relationships are fucked up. People want to just shit on him and degrade him and celebrate his death, man. I just think that's some scumbag shit, and anybody should be ashamed who's doing that. And you know what? We're probably not even going to get into an hour today because it just so happens that two of these things were really like kind of the same topic. But before I get into this last little topic, let's get in another word from one of our sponsors.
A musician looking for music marketing and promotion? Then look no further than Promo Palace LLC, your one-stop shop for all music promotion services. Services include Spotify playlist pitching, YouTube video promotion, record pool promotion, blog placements, radio airplay promotion, SoundCloud promotion, and much more. With over 2,000 customers and over 10 years of experience in online promotion, Promo Palace LLC is a company you can trust. For more info, please go to promopalace.biz. See you there.
As usual, thank you to my beautiful spokesperson. That's right. If you need marketing promotions, go to promopalace.biz. Want to promote your music, product, brand, or your service? Check us out, promopalace.biz. We do press releases, SEO, social media advertising, music video promotion, TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers, playlists, pitching, blog placements, record pool placements, and much, much more. I want to talk about something that a friend of mine said to me one day, we were talking about, I was talking about we as a country. He's like, yo, we got to stop saying we, meaning me and him. Like, we the people we got to stop saying we, because we really don't run this country. It's politicians, billionaires, whatever. But I really do have an issue with us helping Ukraine. And I'm going to tell you why. I always have an issue when problems are escalating in your backyard and you can't fix those, and you're more worried about helping problems, that don't pertain to us. Like, to me, like, this is right now what's going on to me is you got one corrupt country at war. Let me rephrase this. You got the number one most corrupt country in Europe at war with the second most corrupt country in Europe. Why would I support either one? I would never support corruption, no matter what. I'm not this idea like the lesser evil. No, there's no such thing as the lesser evil. There's just evil. It's like when people say black on black crime. No, that's horseshit. There's no such thing as black on black crime. There's just crime. The lesser evil. Let's support the less corrupt. What really this is, in my opinion, is somebody trying to protect business interests in Ukraine. Somebody trying to maybe gain political power and leverage over Russia. Just to give you a little historical history tidbit, Ukraine's in World War II fought with Nazis. A lot of Ukrainians fought with the Nazis. Yeah, so there's that. I think Biden probably has some interest in Ukraine. If I'm not mistaken, that might be one of the countries that was listed on the Hunter Biden laptop, which was supposed to be Russian propaganda. I just like, why are we giving $60 billion to Ukraine when we have too many freaking problems that all these Democrats just bitch and complain. What was it? Larry Elder said people were interviewing Denzel Washington, my favorite, like one of my favorite actors of all time, probably if not the favorite. Definitely the only guy in Hollywood speaking real truth. They wanted him to do they asked him a question. They expected him to do the BMW, the bitch, moan, and whine. Democrats bitch, moan, and whine every day about all the problems in America. But they don't care about American problems. Because if they did, why are we giving $60 billion to Ukraine? And why are we helping the second most corrupt country in Europe? Why would we even want the second most corrupt country in Europe to be part of NATO? That's just my opinion. I mean, as a person, I would never, like, if two corrupt people are fist fighting, I would just let them fight it out. I did it. I'm gonna pick a side. You know what? This guy. You know what? I think this guy is less corrupt than other. Let me help him beat this other guy up. No, I'm not helping neither one of them corrupt sons of bitches. Corruption is corruption. This idea, lesser evil, lesser corruption. No, they're just both corrupt. And that's that. That's how I look at it, it's just, yeah, man. Democrats are such big hypocrites, man. America's got all the worst problems you say America's the worst country in the world. It's got all the worst problems in the world. It's damn near a third world country according to y'all. But you gave $60 billion to Ukraine. And another thing I didn't notice, I did not know this. Something that made me really, really skeptical and a little bit nervous about printing money now. Like, they were talking to this guy about, print money. He's like, well, how do we print money? And I thought about what he said. Well, we print money digitally. And I'm like, hold up. So I didn't see. This is something I think about. So when we think of printing money, like when they sent out, we're like, all right, they printed a ton of money up, and they sent us a bunch of money. I'm thinking in the aspect of they printed, ones, fives, 20s. I wasn't thinking in the aspect of they printed up the money digitally. They digitally printed up the money. So when I think about that aspect, you made it up. You just made it up out of thin air. You made it up out of thin air. You just digitally printed up money that's not there. Because this is the problem with currency and economic system. If everything isn't done right, that's why inflation becomes inflation. Because if the economy completely collapses, like say everybody's internet collapsed for a week. I mean, every internet collapsed for a week. Well, guess what? Nobody could get money off of their debit cards and none of that shit, right? So, what happens that week? If you can't get cash money off of your debit card because the whole internet has crashed, because you can't use credit card processing machines without internet connections. You can't use ATMs without internet connections. So if you don't have cash money to buy food, what do you got to do? You got to barter or trade or borrow. That is the number one form of currency. Barter, trade, or borrow. Like working for barter is like working for food. Trade is like I'll trade you a half a loaf of bread for a dozen eggs. I'll trade you a piece of bread for 12 pieces of bread for 12 eggs. However you want to do it. Or six pieces of bread for half a dozen eggs. However you want to do it. And then borrow would be you're going to have to you can borrow it, but you're going to have to pay it back, and more likely with interest. So that is always going to be the number one currency as far as the laws of nature goes. Laws of man, yeah, paper money with a bunch of old white people's faces on it, some old crackers' faces on it. Yeah, but if the internet crashes for a week straight, I'm telling you what's going to happen. And the other way is going to be rob and steal. My bad. I left one out. You're going to have barter, which is, work for food. You're going to have trade eggs for some milk or some eggs for bread or whatever. Then you're going to have borrow, which means you're going to have to pay it back with interest. And then you're going to have people that's robbing and stealing. That's how the laws of nature work. Laws of man are only work within this bubble of the internet. Still has to work because now everything's went digital. We all got credit cards and debit cards, and nobody just walks around with a ton of cash on them, hardly no more. The only people that walk around with a ton of cash on them is people who don't have bank accounts. I repeat, or let me rephrase that. Super rich people like rappers who are stupid and don't know no better, or just rich people like jewelers and that are in cash business, rich dudes in the cash business, or people who don't have bank accounts. That's the only people that walk around with a load of cash in them. Drug dealers, they don't got bank accounts, so you throw them in that mix typically. people who don't have bank accounts and people that are just in the cash business. And even then, they usually take a lot of the money and go deposit in a bank account. And when I mean they're in the cash business, like jewelers or something like that, like people who buy jewelry and stuff. They buy, you come up, roll up on, they buy jewelry for cash. Pawn shops, they're dealing the cash business. You know what I'm saying? Like people like that. But for the most part, most people got debit cards and EBT cards or whatever it may be. There's a lot of digital currency going around. So the fact that they just print up currency digital really makes me wary, because that you're just making it up now. You got to be just printing up digital currency. I thought we were printing up physical money to go. I thought it was physically printed up, not digitally. So that's something I never really thought of. I never really knew. And that makes you look at it even way different now. Way different, because I always looked at it from the aspect of just printing up actual money, like paper money. So there's that. Yeah, we shouldn't be giving Ukraine all this money. And especially with people clearly making threats that if we help these people out, we're going to pay the price. If any of y'all that do believe in karma, well, there you go. And they're the two most corrupt countries in Europe. And the history of Ukraine, I mean, let's not act like they didn't fight with Nazis. Ukrainians didn't fight with Nazis when they did. Look in your history books. Google it. Check out your history. And I'm not saying that, like, Germans are Nazis now, but I'm just saying, like, Germany is totally different than it was from World War II. Russia is pretty much the same, and Ukraine is pretty much the same. I repeat, Germany is totally different from what it was in World War II. Russia and Ukraine are exactly the same, man. They're exactly the same. They have not changed one bit. If you believe they have, that's horseshit bullshit. So, we're 37 minutes into this. Not much more to talk about. Yeah, I think I got over some good topics, man. I think it's amazing how, when you come up with something and you hear, I just totally love when I come up with something and I'm like, you know what? Because I said it like, you can't be pro-choice or pro-abortion. I said that to myself when I analyzed it. And then I hear Jason Whitlock breaking it down in a whole different way that I broke it down. When he broke it down with the cops, that made me really, really think like, oh, this is an interesting take. This is a very interesting take. And I know people are going to be like, their first argument is going to be like, well, that's their job. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. Once you throw out my body, my choice for any one thing on this planet, any one thing, people could do it for every other thing they want to that involves their body and their choice. And that's a choice to run up in a school with somebody with an automatic weapon. That's a choice. That cop has a choice to say, I'm scared. I'm not going to do this. And yeah, the police department has a choice to fire him, but that's what this super pro-choice movement gets you. Just screaming my body, my choice, my body. This what that gets you. A rabbit hole that you can't close. You open up this rabbit hole that you can't close. And I was explaining this since like transgenders and like other, just other examples, you know what I'm saying? Like drug users or somebody slicing the cutters. They don't slice the wrist, but they cut cutters, drug users, hookers, Johns, whatever. It's their body, their choice. Who are we to say? Who are we to lock somebody up for selling their body, for prostituting? Who are we to lock somebody up for having sex with a prostitute? Who are we to lock somebody up for using drugs? Who are we to lock up somebody in a mental institution for cutting their arms? Who are we to do these things when you're screaming "my body, my choice" every single day about abortions? Like, open the mirror. I mean, look, open the door. Look at the mirror, man. Look at yourself in the mirror, man. You're being a hypocrite right now. And now you want to now we got to throw in these cops. Now, yeah, if I'm a cop, do I want to decide, like, do I have a choice to run up in a school with a crazy nutcase that killed his grandma with an automatic weapon, or do I have no choice? Well, if you want to take away his choice, then you got to stop screaming "my body, my choice." You got to stop it. If not, you're a hypocrite. Plain and simple, man. It's that simple. It's that simple. So, yeah, I just thought that was so interesting that Whitlock brought that up. And I actually kind of was going to talk about that before he brought it up. But he just pretty much validated everything I was thinking on the lines of that. Because I hate when people always try to look at things they try to use big words like Michael Eric Dyson. He always used big words to try to make himself look smarter and more educated than everybody, and he's never saying shit. He used all these big words just to look smart and ain't saying shit. Everybody don't understand all those big words, all these big college educated words. So you got to go off of common knowledge and common sense and just common, simple English etiquette so everybody can understand and relate. Because when you start using these, the agitator of the versatile of the monarchy of the racial justice system of the democratic, it's like, shut up with this horse shit. Just get your point across. Say it simple as possible so everybody can understand it. And you don't got to sit there and try to look down on people like you're just so much smarter because you're using bigger words. No, man, using bigger words doesn't make you smarter, because you can still make all the dumb choices in society using all those big words. Being smart is about the choices you make in life, and that is it. It's not about all the books you've read. You well versed and educated on this, that, and the third. No, have you made smart decisions and choices in life? That's what being smart is about. And that comes from a point of common sense and common knowledge, not some bookworm book smarts like Eric Dyson tries to throw out there when he debates, just to try to, so he can look smarter than everybody he's debating. It's horse shit, man. Horse shit, complete horse shit. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Gonna end it off with a Paul Pickett podcast commercial. All right, here we go. Only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, sport events, and more. Please check me out 3 to 4 days a week on my video podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Rumble. And check out the audio version on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM. Oh, video froze up. Don't know what happened there, but you pretty much get the get that idea. Check me out pretty much everywhere on the internet. As soon as I get done with this podcast, I upload it to Facebook, upload it to Rumble, Instagram, schedule it to stream live on Twitter, and then it'll go. Then I take the audio version. I pretty much distribute it Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, and much, much more. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Episode 149. Yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett. Peace, and I'm out.